Many of the world's highest untouched mountains lie far from the paths most people ever travel. Deep within the Himalayas and the Karakoram, there are peaks that remain blank on the human story. Summits where no climber has ever stood, routes no rope has ever traced, and ridgelines that hold a kind of silence we seldom encounter anymore. Some of these mountains are protected by tradition and spirituality. Some are locked behind borders or political tension. Others are so remote that reaching the base would already be a feat worthy of expedition journals. Together, they form a rare catalog of Earth's last true wildernesses, places that exist outside of conquest, outside of achievement, untouched, simply because the world around them insists they remain so. In this expanded journey, we will explore 9 of the most fascinating unclimbed peaks on the planet, moving from the lowest to the highest. As we progress, the mountains become stranger, more mysterious, and sometimes even mythic. The final peaks on this list are so inaccessible that their summits may remain forever unknown. So, settle in. Some of these stories are beautiful, some are unsettling, and some are simply astonishing. Let's begin. 1. Mount Kailash, 6,638. Our journey starts on the vast, wind-burned Tibetan plateau. The land stretches in quiet waves of rock and grass until a lone, perfectly sculpted mountain rises from the emptiness. Even from far away, Mount Kailash feels different, almost intentional, as if placed rather than formed. Mount Kailash stands at 6,638 meters, not remarkable for height in Himalayan standards. Yet it is one of the most spiritually charged mountains on Earth. Its black geometric faces look impossibly clean, forming a natural pyramid dusted with snow. Many travelers describe it as more like a monument than a mountain. 4 major religions revere this peak. Hinduism sees it as the home of Lord Shiva. Buddhism regards it as the cosmic axis, the center of the universe. Jainism holds that their first enlightened teacher attained liberation here. The Bon tradition considers it the seat of spiritual power. For thousands of years, pilgrims have walked the Kora, a 52-kilometer circumambulation around the mountain. Some complete it in a day, others take several, and some move with deep devotion, prostrating themselves across kilometers of rough ground. But no one goes up. It isn't climbing difficulty that keeps people away. It's reverence. The mountain is considered so sacred that standing on its summit would be seen as desecration. China, which governs the region, has never issued a climbing permit. Reinhold Messner once requested special permission to climb part-way without touching the top. He, too, was refused. There are occasional whispers in mountaineering circles about a secret ascent long ago, but nothing has ever been proven. The summit remains untouched, not because it is unclimbable, but because almost everyone agrees it should stay that way. 2. Machhapuchhare, 6,993. Leaving Tibet, we cross into Nepal, where the Annapurna Range rises like a wall of light. Ahead of us stands one of the most recognizable mountains in the Himalayas, Machhapuchhare, the fishtail. Machhapuchhare reaches just under 7,000 meters, but height is not what makes it iconic. From Pokhara and countless villages along the Annapurna Trail, the mountain appears razor-sharp, its twin summits forming the shape of a tail slicing through the sky. In 1957, a British expedition led by Wilfred Noyce climbed within 150 meters of the summit. They stopped there voluntarily, honoring the mountain's sacredness to the Gurung people. That is the highest any human has ever stood on Machhapuchhare. Since that expedition, Nepal has refused all climbing permits. Even though it's not an especially technical peak, compared to the 8,000-meter giants around it, it is visually arresting, so much so that many climbers dream of it despite knowing the answer will always be no. No crampon marks the summit ridge. No photo exists from the top. Its highest snow remains as untouched as the day it formed. Machhapuchhare may not be the tallest unclimbed mountain in Nepal, but it is by far the most visible, admired by millions, yet forever out of reach. 33. Sanglung, 7,195. We now fly east into one of the most remote corners of the Himalayas, an area where deep, twisting valleys and jagged ridges fold into each other like an ancient labyrinth. Few people have set foot here, and fewer still have explored it with intent. Hidden in this wild maze stands Sanglung, a peak that reaches 7,195 meters. Its slopes are so rarely seen that photographs are nearly non-existent. Most of what climbers know comes from maps and satellite images. The Machhapuchhare region, where Sanglung rises, is often described as one of the least accessible environments on Earth. Rivers cut through canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon. Trails that exist are faint, seasonal, and used only by nomads and animals. Reaching the mountain's base would require weeks of crossing unmapped terrain, glaciated passes, and uninhabited valleys. Sanglung is not protected by law or belief. It is protected by remoteness. There are no recorded expeditions, no scouting attempts, no known approach routes, no base camp locations, no climbing history of any kind. A peak over 7,000 meters with zero human interaction is extremely rare in modern mountaineering. Sanglung is one of those anomalies, a mountain too far for most expeditions to seriously consider. Marker 4. Tongshanjiabu, 7,207 meters. Along the border between Tibet and Bhutan lies Tongshanjiabu, a massive mountain rising to 7,207 meters. For years, it was scarcely referenced on maps, and some early surveys underestimated its height. Today, we know it is one of the tallest unclimbed mountains in existence, yet almost nothing is known about it. Bhutan has some of the strictest mountain protection rules in the world. High peaks are believed to house guardian spirits, and climbing them is seen as spiritually harmful. As a result, Bhutan banned mountaineering above 6,000 meters, and the ban has only strengthened over time. On the Tibetan side, the region is heavily regulated by Chinese authorities, making access extremely difficult. Tongshanjiabu has no recorded expeditions, no reconnaissance missions, no known climbing photographs, no permits ever issued from either side. Its isolation is so complete that even the approach would be an expedition into unmapped wilderness. In mountaineering circles, Tongshanjiabu is sometimes called the Forgotten 7,000er, not because it is small, but because it stands in a place almost no one is allowed to enter. 5. Karjiang South, 7,221 plot. Continuing west along the Bhutan-Tibet frontier, we encounter Karjiang South, a peak that hovered on the list of the world's highest unclimbed summits for decades. At 7,221 meters, Karjiang South is steep, icy, and intimidating. Its ridges are lined with cornices, its faces are fractured by hanging glaciers, and its slopes rise out of a region without villages or infrastructure. For years, it was almost mythical, known only as a height on a map. Only one attempted ascent was documented before 2024, a Dutch team in 2001 who retreated because of unstable snow and deteriorating conditions. Then in 2024, a Chinese team succeeded in reaching the summit, ending the mountain's long era of mystery. Even though Karjiang South is no longer unclimbed, it remains interesting because of how little was known before that first complete ascent. The climb revealed an environment as harsh as the legend suggested, a place where storms form without warning and where the terrain is so complex that even experienced mountaineers struggled to navigate it. Today, it remains remote and seldom visited, a reminder that even in the 21st century, there are still mountains where information is scarce and routes are unknown. 6. Apsarasas Kangri I, 7,243. Now we enter the Karakoram, a region of extreme altitude, extreme beauty, and extreme geopolitical tension. Deep inside the Siachen Glacier conflict zone stands Apsarasas Kangri II, reaching 7,243 meters. This is one of the most restricted mountain areas in the world. India and Pakistan both maintain military bases in the region, some higher than many peaks in the Alps. Temperatures plunge to 40 degrees Celsius, storms sweep the glaciers year-round, and avalanches are common. The mountain's name, meaning place of the dancing spirits, contrasts sharply with its harsh surroundings. Foreign expeditions are banned. Local access is mostly limited to military personnel. Permits for climbing are unheard of. Yet even without political barriers, Apsarasas Kangri I would be formidable. The glaciers around it are deeply crevassed, its ridges are steep and exposed, and the high altitude makes every step dangerous. There are almost no photographs taken from close range. No documented route exists. No team has ever reached its summit. It is a mountain that is known, mapped and recognized, and still completely untouched. 7. Lapche Kang III, 750 meters high on the Tibetan plateau, lies the Lapche Kang Massif, a long spine of peaks blanketed in ice. The tallest summit, Lapche Kang III, was climbed in 1987, but its neighbor, Lapche Kang II, remains unclimbed at 7,250 meters. The terrain is wildly complex. The massif is surrounded by broken glaciers, sharp ridges, and steep snow slopes. Weather changes quickly, and access is heavily restricted. Only 2 serious attempts have been recorded. 2010. American climber Joe Puryear fell to his death, ending the expedition. 2016. A Polish team obtained a rare permit, but turned back after extremely difficult mixed terrain and unstable snow. Since then, no team has returned. No route has been established. No camp positions are mapped. In a region where peaks over 7,000 meters are already demanding, Lapche Kang II stands out for its combination of isolation, danger, and lack of information. 8. Summa Ri, 7,286. Back in Pakistan, near the Baltoro Glacier, rises Summa Ri, a 7,286-meter peak almost lost among its towering neighbors. While not widely known, it is one of the most technically difficult unclimbed summits. In 1998, a Scottish team attempted it, navigating long glacier approaches and steep mixed terrain. They retreated after encountering hazardous ice, unpredictable avalanches, and an overall lack of safe bivouac sites. Since then, the mountain has nearly vanished from climbing discussions. It is overshadowed by K2, Broad Peak, and the Gasherbrum, all of which draw far more attention. Yet Summa Ri remains one of the last great unclimbed objectives in the Karakoram. A successful ascent would require a highly skilled, well-supported team willing to operate in near-total isolation. Number 9. Gangkhar Puensum, 7,570 meters. Our final destination is the highest unclimbed peak in the world, Gangkhar Puensum, standing 7,570 meters high on the Bhutan-Tibet border. This mountain may never be climbed at all. In the 1980s, Bhutan briefly allowed expeditions. 4 teams attempted Gangkhar Puensum between 1985 and 1986, but none reached the summit. Maps were inaccurate, weather was chaotic, and the sheer scale of the mountain proved overwhelming. Then everything changed. In 1994, Bhutan banned climbing above 6,000 mm. In 2003, it banned mountaineering entirely. The mountain is believed to be inhabited by powerful protective spirits. Climbing it would be deeply disrespectful within Bhutanese culture. Attempts from the Tibetan side have also been blocked for political reasons. The closest anyone has come was in 1999, when a team summited a nearby sub-peak and saw Gangkhar Puensum's summit across the border. Pristine, untouched, unreachable. It remains the tallest mountain on Earth, with no recorded ascent. Final thoughts. These 9 mountains remind us of something rare in the modern world, that there are still places where human ambition stops, not because we can't reach farther, but because we haven't or shouldn't. Some peaks remain unclimbed because of faith, others because of borders, and some because nature has built walls higher than any human plan. Whether these summits will remain untouched forever is impossible to say, but for now, they stand as some of the last pure frontiers on Earth. If you enjoyed this journey into the world's unseen summits, leave a comment, drop a like, and subscribe for more stories about mountains, maps, and mysteries. And check out my next video on high-altitude peaks you can climb.